little brother Jonte, supposed to be Mizzou's next savior. Awesome talent. Tears both of his ACLs like every other minute. Every time he runs down the court, there goes an ACL. Somehow sneaks his way into the NBA and gets kicked out for fixing games and betting on games.
That's so cool.
If in my adolescence or early to mid-20s, when I was obsessed with sports and gambling, if it had been as easy to marry those two obsessions, I would have either been rich or
so you could have been
dead.
a millionaire by now.
Or dead. Or both. Like, I don't think that video goes viral if we haven't been spending money in Facebook's marketplace on their ad for a number of times.
This one has a lot of hair. This one has a normal amount of hair. It's Pat and Alex. This one was born in Raytown. This one lives in Raytown. They opened a store in the pandemic, and this is a show about it. Hustle and bustle. Hustle and bustle. Hustle and bustle. Here is the show.
Hello and welcome to Hustle and Bustle. I'm Pat.
I'm Alex.
I have a Buffalo Bills pencil today, and it makes me feel very cool.
Oh, you like the Bills?
No, but it reminds me of who's the back Chris Berman. Chris Berman on ESPN. You don't remember Chris Berman? He's like the Sunday night football guy, or I don't know what the fuck he is. Monday night football countdown, something like that. NFL countdown.
I was never an ESPN kid.
No, well, that's sad. I'm learning more and more about how sad your childhood is, just in drips. Your mom wasn't a fan of music.
Yeah,
and you didn't have ESPN.
Yeah, both of those. A
lot of VHS from the library. What was your?
Oh, we were big library movie kids. Oh yeah.
That explains the 10 years without new shoes thing too.
Makes us sound a lot poorer than we were. Or maybe we were just poorer than I remember.
Anyways, welcome back to the show. It is a dreary Sunday here, and let's get the 800-pound gorilla out of the way. This fucking wind is like life-changing.
Yeah, I'm hyper aware of it now because I gotta move the letters around on their marquee every time it gets windy. Mm-hmm. So just any gust of wind frustrates the hell out of me.
I have a hypothesis. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I've been saying this for a while. If you ever listen to Raytown Public Radio, towards the end I talked more and more about weather, traffic, and politics, much to the chagrin of my co-hosts. But the wind thing, like I think that's the number one thing that we're going to realize from like the first consequence that everyone's like, fuck, this sucks from global warming. Just constant, perpetual, like obstructive wind, like wind that changes your day.
Yeah, like I drive a big box delivery truck sometimes, like once or twice a week, and if it's on a day that it's crazy windy, it makes that day like twice as worse.
Maybe that's why Elon started the Boring Company. He knew it was coming. He's like, box trucks are done unless they're underground.
That's your second hypothesis?
No, the part of the hypothesis here is this. So, like, the ozone layer is supposed to be what's eroding, right? That's part of the global warming.
Sure.
And Jen just told me this, and it blew my mind. And then we looked it up, so it says it's true. But the Earth rotates at, like, 1,000 miles an hour, like at some insane speed. But, like, you're in the car, you don't realize it, because the ozone layer is the windshield. But as there's less of a windshield, you can feel that 1,000 miles an hour, you know what I'm saying? Does that make scientific sense?
It makes.
Someone send that to Neil deGrasse Tyson and let's get some immediate feedback.
I got a red phone somewhere. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know shit about shit, so that sounds right to me.
I mean, if you're going 85 miles down miles an hour down the highway with all the windows up, you're doing pretty good. Roll down that sunroof, and it's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, the hair goes crazy.
Yeah. I think the sunroof's down on Earth. That's what's going on.
I'm going to roll that shit back up.
Announcements. Sunday sale is coming to you at least through the end of April, which is just 2 more Sundays. So we're going to have back-to-back Sunday sales where things are on sale around here. And it's going to be 10% store-wide. Mm-hmm. And then 50% all Polo this Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah. So really good stuff. And then probably some more stuff that you'll see on our social media. But Sundays through April, we're going to have some sales. We're just trying to remind people that we're here open again on Sunday.
Yeah.
I saw somebody on Tuesday come in and leave, and I felt bad. I'm like, I wonder if that was like a Tuesday customer. Like they always came in on Tuesdays, and now we're closed on Tuesdays because we just changed our hours. I keep fucking doing that.
Sort yourself out.
Yeah, we'll just put you there. And I just felt bad, like, oh no, we lost a Tuesday customer, but like we got to get our Sunday customers to know we're back open again so they can come in.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, like hours being open. If it affects, there's definitely stores I don't visit just because my schedules never line up.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a terrifying thought. Red
Door Wine Store in Lee Summit. If you were open till say 9, you would have more of me and my wife's money.
Maybe that's why.
But
they're
8,
not.
8's tough. But 9, you'd have more of us. So what were we talking about? The Sunday sale. That's happening.
Yep.
Bookstore is open up the street.
Yes, I've yet to visit, but I need to go.
Okay, so turns out we were wondering who is it, and then I was like, I think on the last podcast I had a conspiracy theory that the owners had been in here wearing masks. I'm like, that seems like the type of person to open a bookstore is a mask wearing person. Turns out I don't know the owner. I kind of do. So one of the owners or the owner's husband, I don't know who with the we haven't seen the operating agreement, but the family that owns it, one of them is part of the Land family, is the older brother of a kid I grew up with. Was a really good friend in like middle school and stuff. And I figured that out through social media sleuthing like the day before the grand opening. So he stopped in here and then I went up there on their grand opening and it was just super cool.
Oh, I think I talked to him. And his family come in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So he's the one, that's Carson, who I went to school with. Like he grew up right across the street from our elementary school. I went to like a lot of church stuff with him.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's his brother and his wife that own Trailhead Books.
Nice.
But things I didn't know about it, it's all used, which is cool.
I was curious if it was going to be kind of like a new bookstore or if it was going to be a mix. So you didn't see any new books in there?
I didn't personally see any new books, no.
I don't know what that process is, but
yeah, I don't either. So, yeah, it was cool, and I don't know. I wonder what the procurement is for secondhand books. Like we could do that. Like if we wanted to, we know where we could go get books for like $1, say.
Yeah,
and then resell them. But I don't. I mean, that can't be. I wouldn't think their procurement. But we're secondhand crap. We buy secondhand crap that people otherwise discarded and then upcharge it and sell it to people and curate it. And they are too. So it's kind of neat that they do that as well.
Yeah. I think you just have to know your books. Like, I don't know nothing about books.
Yeah.
So it would be hard to know the value of or what's good or what's not, or authors or styles or publishers, or I'm sure all of that matters.
I looked at some of their 100%. I looked at their titles and I saw some titles that, like, if I recognized one that was on our shelves, I looked at it and saw how expensive it was. And it made me feel good about our books, that like theirs are slightly more expensive than ours, but
they should be.
We're a thrift store. They're a bookstore. That makes sense.
Dope.
So cool. It's another cool business in downtown Raytown. We talked about them last time, but now they're open. I've been there. It's cool. You should go check it out. They're open, I think it's Tuesday to Saturday, 10 to 5, I believe. Tuesday to Saturday is 10 to 5, so go check them out. Around the Water Cooler, Iron Claw movie.
Yeah.
You seen it.
So, little movie night with the fiance, and she recommends the Iron Claw.
Oh.
It's
got Zac Efron and
he's fucking ripped in the movie.
Spandex.
Holy shit. The whole time. It's just a bunch of half-naked, ripped dudes.
Yeah.
But it's about this family of wrestlers. Now, I don't know much about like professional wrestling, but from what I gathered from the movie, it used to be a bunch of separate little like
traveling gypsy bands of performers.
And so one of them was the NWA, National Wrestling Association.
Okay.
And
not the NWA I associate with, the rap group.
And so the father of the family, I think, started it, or was like the Ric Flair of this organization. Like he was the most famous.
Okay.
And never got a shot at the world title and became like obsessed with it. And so he had 4 boys, and the oldest of which, I'm never really clear on his age, but is like super famous in like the little Texas wrestling scene. Mm-hmm. So his dad is trying to get him to the title. Anyway, the movie is just about like men, brothers, and like the relationship with brothers have with each other, and like that dads have with their families. It's wild.
Yeah.
It does a really good job of like a kind of personifying like what men go through.
Okay.
The whole movie is really sad. There's lots of times you're like, oh, this is when they win.
Yeah.
And they never do. It's really sad. But it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Especially one to like recommend to your dad. I don't know if you want to watch it with him.
Yeah.
But it's great for your dad to see and for you to see.
That's cool.
That's how I'd recommend
I like
it.
that. Have you seen, what was the one, I saw it on like a rugby road trip in college that Mickey made us watch, Warrior or something? It's where like two estranged brothers are on the other side of like a UFC fighting bracket, and the dad's like also like the trainer.
Yeah. It's like that, but sadder.
Ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
If you want your depression to crank to 11, then watch this movie.
I wanted to stop watching it halfway through.
Okay.
It made me that uncomfortable. But Caroline
But
was
now
like,
you
"It's
got
good."
to the end and you feel like
If I could have not
recommending
watched
it?
Yeah, if I could have not watched it, I think I may have not watched it.
So, if I could summarize this recommendation, it's don't watch it, but if you do, watch all the way through.
If you're happy enough where you can afford to voluntarily cry in your life, give it a whirl.
Right. We talked about the wind. That's bananas. Hey, this probably wasn't on your radar at all, but you also probably don't know who John Tay Porter is.
John Tay Porter.
All right, I'm going to give you a quick rundown, all right? The Porter family is this Porter, like, basketball family. The sisters played at Mizzou. Then the little brothers, one of them was supposed to be this, like, LeBron-type talent, Kevin Durant-type talent. You've heard of those guys.
Is this the gambling dude?
Yes, so you did hear about this
I
guy.
read this article.
Okay, you did. So you get this is the this godson, like LeBron James, supposed to be LeBron James, right? Tears his ACL 2 minutes into his college career, and then has back problems. Never like actually plays for Mizzou. Goes to the NBA. He's won an NBA title. His little brother John Tay, supposed to be Mizzou's next savior. Awesome talent. Tears both of his ACLs like every other minute. Every time he runs down the court, there goes an ACL. Somehow sneaks his way into the NBA and gets kicked out for fixing games and betting on games.
It's so cool. What a life.
So it was cool enough, the headline, to get you to click through, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was fed to me. I usually don't go down the sports section of like the news apps, but I saw Mizzou and I was like, this is local.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What a cool guy. I think fixing games, bring it back. I think it was cool. Add a mob mentality to the NBA.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, he bet on his team to lose most of the time.
I don't love that part.
Which is opposite. Pete Rose was like, I always bet on us to win.
Yeah, that's
And
maybe not such a cool guy.
John Tay Porter's like, man, this team fucking sucks, and I'll bet on us to lose.
It's way easier to fix a game to lose, though, than to fix a game.
Well,
to
have you
win.
heard about Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese baseball player?
Oh, in his translator?
Yes.
Okay.
I
don't
know
about
just
this.
enough about this to really say some ignorant shit for people who have heard about it.
Okay.
But he has Ohtani's Babe Ruth. Like, he is literally changing baseball forever right now. He's the best player in the century. And he speaks no fucking English, so he's got a translator who has somehow managed to gamble way more money than he could ever actually have. So did he steal it from Ohtani? Was he the betting proxy for Ohtani? That seems to be on the table.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That also sounds. That would make a great movie.
But like, dude, let's zoom out macro level business if you want to like couch it in something that we're supposed to be talking about. Like, sports gambling was, except in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and in Las Vegas, Nevada,
Okay, yeah.
100% fucking illegal until like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
My entire life, it was 100% illegal. Now you can do it from your phone in like half the country.
Now Dora the Explorer will tell you where to click, and you'll win. Like the endorsements are so widespread.
You know
that
what
it's
also
crazy.
used to not exist is like I was at like the liquor store picking up my wine like a responsible adult. Someone else was just getting it door dashed. Now you could just get booze delivered to your home.
I read an article linking.
How easy is that to do if you're a minor? Like, kids order shit on their kids' parents' Amazon all the time. You tell me like a 16-year-old can't figure out a way to order booze through their parents' DoorDash?
Yeah, that's easy as shit. I read an article that was linking like the as technology progressed from like the 1700s to 1900s, linking the availability of hard liquor because to widespread alcoholism and like cultural demise. But it was like booze used to be just like beer and wine, and then people learned how to distill it, but it was dangerous and it took facilities, and so like you could only get hard liquor in
imagine
bars.
if it was just beer and wine, like, because that shit you have to acquire a taste for, but you can make liquor taste like anything.
Yeah, like candy.
Yeah.
And then they were like, now it can be mass produced, so you couldn't just get hard liquor in bars. You could buy it at stores and have it in your house. So now you could,
and airplane bottles you can shove in your purse. And
yeah, and so now you don't even have to leave the house. You can go through drive-thrus. You can get a door dashed. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but
there used to be a lot of like guardrails that our evolution blew through.
Yeah, it
made it harder to be an alcoholic.
It was a pro-alcohol article talking about like the cultural drinking alone was just impossible.
Yeah.
You'd always have somebody be like, hey, stop. Or, you'd have some mother-in-law across the table that'd be like, you've had too many.
Yeah.
It's
Scott Galloway, the guy we listen to a lot, talks a lot about sports betting and gambling and the effect it's having on young men, and like there's some like statistical decline in young men. There's less of them in college and all. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on it, but like, I think it's terrifying. Like, I remember, like, I got addicted to, like, I used to pawn my DVDs and, like, my possessions to buy back into poker games.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, like, live, selling shit to my friends to buy back in. What can I find in my house that's of value to them?
Gambling's the thing I've never really caught the bug for. It's a lot more difficult. I think it's because I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
It's like I've never won.
Well, winning's that's the addictive part, not the losing part.
Like, I don't know why.
No one's ever like, I just lost $1,000. I can't wait to do that again.
Yeah. So it's been difficult for me to like. I haven't even bet online once,
Yeah.
or played poker online once, or I maybe have played one game of in-person poker with like a $5 buy-in or some shit like that.
I feel like I missed the window, right? Like, if I don't know, there's probably people that if internet porn would have come out when they were a kid, they would have ended up like a weird pervert. But luckily, they would have had to work a lot harder. All they had was Playboy and like the
back
Sears
of
catalog.
magazine ads.
Yeah. And so they were able to be a relatively functional adult. I think that's me with sports betting. Because if this had come, if in my adolescence or early to mid 20s, when I was obsessed with sports and gambling, if it had been as easy to marry those two as obsessions, I would have either been rich or
so you could have been
dead.
a millionaire by now,
or dead, or both,
or had a Adam Sandler movie made after you.
Yeah, man, it's fucking wildly crazy. But like the deregulation in general, everything has been deregulated. Mm-hmm. Like, and we love the fact that weed's been deregulated largely and is continuing to be deregulated. And I never thought I would be like saying, man, well, let's pump the brakes on some of this shit. But like, honestly, technology has made, maybe 25 years ago, deregulating sports gambling would have made sense.
Yeah, you still would have
now
had to go to a bookie or go to you can't just like sit in your room, click a button, transfer money from a different account, click a button.
It feels like making that, like allowing people to conceal and carry without a license for the first time, and then like moving in a like weapons for mass destruction store on the front of Main Street at the same time.
Yeah.
Like that's what we're doing across all of America.
And have you? It's not just sports, but I can't remember what it may have been, Scott, or it was Marketplace, but they were talking about how you can bet on like laws. Or like when Congress goes.
What are they? They're calling them some kind of contracts, but you can bet on. Yes,
it was like 30 cents to $1.
Which is going to gamify everything.
Holy shit!
Everything. It's going to turn HOA and PTA meetings into.
Talk about fixing games.
Exactly. Exactly. It's going to mobify everything if that really becomes.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Less cool. Way less cool.
Yeah. All right. How it's going? Viral video. We talked about it a little bit last week. Mm-hmm. So I sent it to my father-in-law and my wife, and it last Saturday we had 8,800, and now it's at like 23,000 something. Mm-hmm. So it's been
Pull up the live stats as of now.
It's the most viral video anything we've ever done has been
in general. Yeah.
So it's like kind of interesting to track. It's like it wasn't until a handful of days later that it started. It went like this, and then it took a few days for it to hockey stick up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the first honestly few days, like it was a good video for us, but it was by no means like the outlier that it is now. And then like after about a week, it started to catch some traction. And then now for like 5 or 6 days, it's been like 2,000 or 3,000 views a day, and we get like 80 to 100 followers, which is impressive for us.
Dude, we went from 3,000 to 3,500
in I think a week.
Yeah.
Less than a week, which is 10x minimum, I think, the rate at which we've gained followership.
Dude, to get from 1,000 to 1,500 or from 1,500 to 2,000 took for fucking ever.
And yeah,
and a lot of content.
Yeah, that's true. I say, how many posts have we made?
Yeah, exactly. Like the amount of followers per post.
927 posts, and we've got that. So it would have been. Hold on, I'll do some quick math here for a ratio. We'll say 900 tits and 25 divided by 3,000. So that's like 0.3 followers a post, and then this one has 500 followers a post.
Right.
So that's not. It's more than 10x. That's 100x.
I can't even do that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cool.
So there's. Go ahead.
There's nothing incredibly like entertaining about it, or like it doesn't have a viral hook, or it doesn't have something that we would have thought would go viral.
Literally, it's you saw a video, you screen captured the video, you used the front part of that video, like not that many seconds.
Yeah, it was someone shopping through Target, and they were the caption was, "We don't need Starbucks and Target, we need a wine and thrift store."
Right, but like that was so what you did. I'm just like, you're sitting there,
Okay.
you saw that. And then you're like, well, we're doing that. So you screen captured that video, chopped it up to where there's just a few seconds at the front end where you can read that part. And then you filmed yourself running from the register to the back on your cell phone. Then maybe had one other shot set up, it looked like, on the tripod.
Yeah.
And edited that together in no time at all.
2 shots of voiceover and the instrumental to Thrift Shop by Macklemore.
So like super easy, super fast. And whereas there's other videos where you sit there and you're doing like hours of work, like, so that was maybe 30-40 minutes start to first concept to conception. We just did another video, this Family Matters. Now take out like the time where we didn't actually do everything, just time where we like clock in and clock out when we were actually shooting the Family Matters one. Hours.
Yeah, it is.
So just like, that's mind-boggling. But I think really you can look at it 2 ways. Either we've gotten better at videos, and therefore we've figured out how to make one good enough to go viral, or, and this is my insidious cynical thinking, is we for years made tons of video that could have potentially had this virality to it, but only in the last 8 months started participating in Meta's business model by actually spending money on ads on a regular basis. So before that, we weren't a customer. We were just somebody who walked into their store, looked at the clothes, and walked out. We have plenty of those people, but never spent fucking money in the store. Any of those people come to us and want our time that never spend money here, they're going to get less of it than somebody who comes here and spends money every time they walk in. So, we were not participating in that model. So I think it's a combination. I don't think it's binary.
It might be possible. I don't have any evidence to refute it, but the correlation is decently loose. I don't know. People go more viral having spent less money or no money. I don't know. I would assume.
I don't know. I don't know that that's true. Because what I hear about, and this is what Gary Vee says, and this is the whole Gary Vee lesson. So if you don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, he's like this social media guy who, like, from the beginning,
I don't think I've ever heard him talk about put money into social.
No, but he says, all right. He says that when any new one comes up, TikTok, right? He was the first one telling people to get on TikTok. It's going to be huge. If you don't, you're going to regret it. He did the same thing about Instagram, same thing about all these different ones. When all of them jump on, their entire market share, and this we know by Tristan Lewis and what he's done with HBO and all this, I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically the one, Rabbit Hole, I think, telling you how insidious basically all these companies are.
Yeah.
But their business model is to get enough of your attention to be able to sell your attention to somebody else. That's their entire business model. So they have to get you on there. In order to get you on the platform, they need to incentivize people by giving them like organic going up. So if I hop on TikTok and then I go from 0 followers to like 1,000 in 12 hours, I'm going to tell all my friends about how fast you can get 1,000 followers, because I've been on Facebook for 6 months and I only have 200 followers. Does that make sense? So that's like how every single one of these do. And so they're open markets, and actually they'll promote people intentionally and boost them to get people engaged.
Yeah.
And then they have 1 million fucking people, and undoubtedly they become like, instead of just boosting people to get everyone to the party, they'll just only pick the best ones and boost them. But there's like someone doing that.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Maybe. I have no idea. That's possible.
Yeah.
I think.
So what's the alternative? That enough people just saw this and organically shared it, and their friends resonated with it.
I think if there's a slice of the blame pie, maybe 10 to 20% of it is that we're a meta customer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the 50 to 60% of it is enough people resonated with it at the time we had enough engaged followers that the two clashed.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'm not doubting what you're saying is wrong. I just don't see the value in focusing on like the 10 to 20% of being a meta customer.
Oh, I would. We have no counterfactual. The only way to know would be to go back in time and then start spending money with Meta much sooner and see if we would have gone up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because I'm not. I just think that we've put out good content like for a few years. And I'm shocked that one. Aren't you a little surprised at that? I mean, maybe it's a subject matter, which is great if it is, right?
Yeah.
And if it's a subject matter that Kansas City or the world just wants thrift store bars so fucking bad, we are feeling great about that. And that is definitely something that we have felt.
Because it's gotten, I mean, like, it's the engagement in it is incredibly high, which I think is also why it's been shown to so many people. Like, It's got, the ratio of likes to views is really high, and it's got over 100 shares or 400 sends or something.
Yeah.
So it's got a huge rate of engagement. And yeah, I think there's way more value in figuring out, like, is this an idea that is viral?
Well, that seems to be obvious.
Yeah.
The idea seems to be viral for sure. Like, no one paid for this to go anywhere, and it's going somewhere. Mm-hmm. Overwhelmingly positive thing, and overwhelmingly says that, like, it seems like a validation on the idea that a thrift store bar is a good thing, which is something that feels really fucking good.
Yeah. Feels like an upside down ketchup bottle.
Yeah.
Like, duh.
Yeah. So either way, it feels great. I just it's interesting to me.
Well, I'm excited for the point where, like, now I think we're hitting our videos are at a rate where 1,200 views is the average that I expect. Less than that, I think it hopefully was just like a 30-minute video that you made real quick.
Yeah, if you spent a bunch of time on it.
Yeah, then, look at it and figure out what the fuck did you do wrong.
Yeah.
And so I can't wait to get to the point where, like, regularly we get 20,000 views.
Yeah.
And, like, a viral video is in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
That'll be fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it's coming. Like, if we just continue at this rate for the rest of the year, let's say we throw a viral video out once a month, once every other month, and fucking...
Even at the most... all right, so not that I guess I don't know if I would keep picking the scab, but let's look at it from the most optimistic view. By paying, without question, would you agree that once we started paying and putting sponsored ads up, we started picking up followers at a much higher rate than when we were just putting out unpaid organic content?
But yeah, I mean, that logically makes sense.
So you just have that many more people then to share this video.
Yeah.
So, like, there were now 500 more people who could share it than there would have been had we not been paying for it.
Which makes a big... The difference, I mean, like, because we're so used to seeing massive accounts, but that's true. Like, the difference between 500 people wanting to share it and 100 people wanting to share it is huge in, like, the video's first week or something.
Mm-hmm. It feels so Black Mirror-y talking about it at this level, but technology-wise, like, advertising, if we were in the 90s and we were a thrift store, it would be like just getting on television without paying for it. Like, if you were a small business, wouldn't you be obsessing over how you could do that every second of every day of every week? Or how to get on billboards without paying for it? If that was an option to you, that's the equivalent. But it also feels like God, that it's so fucking important sucks for humanity.
Well, so I think that's what we should like deeply focus on is not, and this is something that Gary Vee and all those fuckers will preach, but not catching the algorithm, not catching the viral, not trying to get Meta to boost your video, but accept that attention costs money, just like it has forever. You're going to pay for advertising. Instead, focus on something, and this is what we've been doing, like producing unique, high-quality things that represent our brand well, and that we're confident that when we spend the money to shove it in people's faces, they'll be like, oh, damn, that's dope, and hit follow and like.
Right.
That's what I think I would advise myself like 3 years ago to focus on. Because like I think having this video go viral, and like you see people talk about it, like, well, I spent 10 minutes on this one and it's got me 1 million views. I don't understand what happened. Like, that's common. The idea that like you can produce something regularly that's gonna feed the algorithm or get the right amount of interactions to get shown to an extra 10,000 people is crazy.
I mean, it's tweets. You know, because Reels used to feel like miniature movies that we were producing. Like we just produced an episode of something. Remember we first started with Ryan? Like it was a whole on thing. You'd have to block out a day for the shooting, then a half a day for the editing. You know what I mean? But now it's become so convenient that a reel is a tweet.
Yeah.
And like I built a little bit of a following in a niche in the rugby, in my little sports industry world on Twitter. And that was just from like firing 1 million out there. You know what I mean? Like it just has that element to it that reels are now tweets.
Yeah.
Which is bananas considering tweets were fucking 140 characters.
And
the 140 characters could take you, sometimes I would roil over a tweet for like, I'd go back and forth. Should I do it? Should I not?
Yeah.
And sometimes a tweet would just fire out and neither want, how much time I spent on it wasn't an indicator of which one would
how
go
well it would do. Yeah.
Yes.
But see that, and that's on the whole. I think there's the ones that we spent the most time on and like add cool edits and neat little details do on average better.
See,
than
I think
the
of
ones
like the
we just
Mentos one, right? That Mentos one now would do way better. I would think.
Yeah,
than it
absolutely. So it
Terry
is just,
Tate would do well now. I would think.
It's like it's recognizing that there's a bump in viewership with the amount of hours you put in. It's just narrowing that gap between the reel that you shit out in 30 minutes and the one that takes you 3 hours to shoot and edit.
Yeah. And the only way to like be able to do something good fast is to like do it bad long.
Yeah, 925 times.
Yeah. So speaking of that and content, like we're in the studio and I just shot a show in here called Selection Saturday. So I will try to keep this as short, but like, you know, March Madness, they have the Selection Sunday show where they reveal all the brackets. Well, for college rugby, that's what we did in the national championships, and we shot it here, and I work in that space, and which is the only reason why we would have ever been shot here, or anybody would have thought to shoot something so commercially here. But it had a little bit of a budget to it, so we were able to spend a little bit of money. So we like covered up the gnarly hustle thing back here with some professional signage, this thing with some professional signage, which like this is like when we're designing the set, isn't this like
it's the mole on another way?
Yeah, it's like how do you, this is the pig that we have to put lipstick on.
Yeah.
Like there's a fucking glass block thing behind this, you drywalled over it, like we don't know what to do. But a sign helped a ton. And so it was relatively easy to turn it over, and I thought it looked professional. We put pennants across here, and it was like just a wonder to be like, and we had 5 cameras shooting. Like,
yeah, the amount of equipment in here was
the studio's
impressive.
capable of if there's a budget behind it.
Yeah,
right. The studio doesn't make the content; it's what if there's a budget and know-how behind it. Because we had a professional person doing the thing.
Yeah,
not cell phones and
you know. Okay, speaking to virality, I can't wait to get to a point where we have access to equipment like that,
right?
And like we can really push the boundaries of our creativity, but I think we should always, like, these things will also continue to be better.
They'll probably outpace, and the efficiency of those.
I see a lot of other resellers and content creators use, like, nice mics and DSLRs and stuff like that. And you do produce better content, but the turnaround time is so exponentially longer.
Mm-hmm.
That's, if from whatever wisdom I do have, get a nice phone with a good camera and a
I think you
screen.
need it. If you're going to do good content, having a DSLR, and we do have a DSLR here. We have other cameras, like with the zoom. You need a zoom, even if it's just a camcorder. But those are $600 or $700.
If that's your job of content creation, you got to have the equipment. But
right.
if you're an
but
operator
even like
owner,
Gary V, yeah,
and you got to like do other shit in the day, like
Phone
you don't need anything more than this.
Phone
This
does
is
it all.
amazing.
So anyway, we did that, and that was kind of fun to see what it could do with a budget.
Yeah.
And gets my brain running. And then Jeff Hurst, who's the new president of the Chamber of Commerce, seems to be engaging more, right? There's a changing of guard. His predecessor, Vicky, who was amazing, has retired. And she started the podcasting thing, and Jeff is taking it over. And he just seems to have a little energy and some ideas behind it.
Yeah. He had some a little multi-phone setup.
Yeah.
Where we had tight shots of the people talking, and I'd be interested to see what the outcome of that is. It seems
it's just like ubiquitous knowledge now that in order to make a podcast work, you have to go to social media and drag people to it.
Yeah.
And that was something that took some time when we were trying to make a podcast company not that long ago to figure out and to figure out how to do it. And in this time, the tools like Canva has been developed in that time, and CapCut and these types of things, which makes it all possible. But it's just wild to see, and it makes you think like the studio, I don't know that it's ever going to be a big driver, but it has felt like an empty waste of space for a lot of the time that we've had it, other than when we come in here and do something with it.
I think Alex Sons and I think are gonna sit down next Tuesday. He wants to do a little podcast,
nice,
about just Greytown entrepreneurship. I think he's gonna tie it pretty heavily into his new business, but that'll be another person who might be using the studio,
right?
So it's being used. It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see that there's some upside there potentially. Anyways, River Market was insane. This is the last thing we'll talk about. It's opened. This is going to be transcendent for vintage in Kansas City. You used to $1,000 a day. You'd hope to do 5 or 6 times a year, probably.
Yeah.
And now you can do it
4 times a month,
if
weather's permitting, which is paradigm tectonic. If that's your side hustle or main gig.
And it was tectonic for us. It's the reason we're still here. It's the reason we have a building of any kind.
So there's bias there, but I think it's bias based on evidence. And so I'm definitely excited to see where it goes from there. Yeah. I know that everyone so far has got real positive views at it. The customers love it. I talk to them whenever they're shopping our booth, and the people that enjoy clothing are excited that there's 12 other clothing vendors now. And it hasn't seemed to hurt us at all. So I can't think of a negative. It's going to be sick. The city market is... I enjoy the fact that they are willing to change and
the ownership has
changed,
things. So that's definitely, you got to think, part of the equation.
Yeah, and I wish I knew more about that ownership board the last 5 or 6 years since we've been involved, and I could have better closely analyzed how things have changed. I don't even know who really owns the stuff, but I think it's good for Kansas City. I think that'll maintain its stay of this is where you should go on a Sunday or Saturday if you're not from Kansas City, or if you are from Kansas City.
Right. Yeah, I think it's dope. I think it youngifies. It makes the city market younger.
Yeah, the art garden. That's true, because 4 years ago it was the vendors were probably
it was rummage and very antique-y.
Average age had to have been between 50 and 60.
Yeah, it was like brass armadillo.
Yeah, and now the average age is 22, 23.
Yeah,
maybe a little older than that. So it's cool.
Yep. It's dope. All right. Well, hey, come and shop here every day except for Sunday. So, Wednesday through Sunday. Sunday, go to the River Market and shop us, or come here, or do both.
Do both.
Do the double whammy.
Can't get enough.
All right. Talk to you later.
Peace.